So I want to start by talking about like how you from private school, sorry. And obviously being a black student, I suppose it's typical. The stereotype is that black students are poorer, we come from like public school or lesser, more disadvantaged backgrounds. So what was that like for you coming into the black community as I suppose early in the early days at least seen as someone who's not fully part of the community, if that makes sense.
Do you mean coming into university or when I was in secondary school?
Yeah, so like coming into uni, because I remember even myself when I first heard you from private school, I was like, oh, so is he really one of us?
Oh, whoa! Hey, now you're reaching, Okay, so it's a thing of my I call it experience. My experience, kind of as a black individual. It's funny, I was having this conversation with someone the other day. I'd say it shifted when I came to university, but I won't say it shifted dramatically. So basically, I went to a private school, Northwest London. I won't reveal the name of the school, but it was up there in Northwest London somewhere. And it was a thing of there were other, because it was Northwest London, there were other people of colour that were at the school that were from kind of similar backgrounds, a similar background as me. And when I say similar background as me, I mean in terms of culture, background, family values, things like that.
Yeah.
And the way my school worked, there was the small group of ethnic minority people that shared that commonality, and then there was everybody else. And we were, at least in terms of my year, you could count the number of us on your hands. And then, like I said, there was everybody else. So from very early on in my time in secondary school, they kind of almost, we did it, they did it, whoever kind of almost grouped us together as a group. And we kind of then shared that commonality of, oh, these other guys don't necessarily know what they're talking about when they're making X, Y, and Z comment about race and about this and about that. And we kind of just shared common things. We like the same kind of music. We like this, we like that, all that kind of thing. So going into university for me, I was going into university from the perspective of I get to no longer be one of the others, and I get to just be me because I'll be completely surrounded by the black community as a whole and ethnic minority community as a whole, whatever, 24/7. But then when I came into uni, that's when kind of certain differences, certain aspects became, I guess, very, very obvious. So in secondary school, I kind of went from being one of in secondary school, when you would look at most of the guys around, you would see guys that like, oh, their father was the this of this country, or owned this. And so all these guys would come in and would be talking about, oh, my dad's going to get me a job in X, Y, and Z. I'm going to this university, and once I finish, I've already got this thing lined up. And so for some of them, there was a level of entitlement or a level of unseriousness. Yeah, that stemmed from the nepotism that they were receiving. And then for my personal group, that wasn't the case. We always, like, although our parents, have done well, we thank God, they instilled in all of us from very, very early that no, you're working and you're gonna I mean, you are what? If you don't, you know what I mean?
No handouts for us.
Do you know what I'm saying? But then coming to university, it made me realize that despite the fact that I didn't have that sense of entitlement was not necessarily instilled in me the same way, and to any way the same level or whatever, there were still certain aspects to the culture that people I would commonly associate myself would go through that I had never been exposed to. So I'll give you like an example, I guess. So coming into university, I was thinking there were certain comments, certain things that I would discuss with my friends before Bristol that just wouldn't be an issue. Like, man, some of these things are going to sound a bit out. So we would commonly discuss things like, oh, what's your first car going to be? BMW, this, that. no cars coming until after graduation, blah, 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 just things like that. But then I'd come to university and the conversations wouldn't be about that. The conversations would be slightly different. And then so whenever I'd bring up a topic like that, a topic that to me sounded completely normal, I'll put it this way: in the first 2-3 months, a lot of these ethnic minority kids were labeling me as Dubi the rich kid, and it's like, and I was confused.
Yeah, me included.
I hated it, and I tried to kick it, but I would keep saying things unintentionally that would give me that label, and it was like, what? It was just so confusing, and so over time, it kind of. I'm happy because it kind of fueled me to a number of the things that I'm now doing in terms of my, I guess, professional development. But at the time, it kind of made me be like, rah. I was a part of a small minority in my secondary school. Granted, this minority had commonalities amongst us, but in terms of the overall school, I was a minority. And that was very bait. And I'm coming to university, and although I'm now relating to all the people that I surround myself with, I'm still that minority, but in a different kind of way. And it was just like, I don't want to say two extremes of the situation, but that's what it felt like. And it was almost like here we go again, but I've got to do this differently kind of thing, which was kind of long, but. On one hand, I'd say it was kind of long because it was like, it made me realize that university, no matter where you go, you're going to have differences with whoever you come across. But then also on the other hand, it was definitely an educational experience and a humbling experience that I didn't realize that I needed. And that's what university will do to you. At very early months, you'll be brought towards situations that you didn't know existed in your secondary school bubble one way or another, and that bubble is gonna pop quickly, and then you're in the university bubble, and then that's another story. But yeah, so I think that was the main thing for me, just not realizing that I was behaving a certain way and thinking that I was the hard working, coming then to university and seeing, oh, right, I actually had certain privileges that I didn't even clock I had. Cool. What do we do from here? You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I'd say that was it for me.